Connecting Point. I am Dr. Marcy, your facilitator for this discussion today. This is the place where creators connect to inspire, share their ideas and stories, to transform the world through raw and unedited talk. And today I am here with a doctor, yes, a board certified medical clinician.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All day.
Yes, Dr. Loretta Duggan. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. 100%. Yes, you got it.
Yes, and I am happy to have you here to discuss something that is important to our community. So, Dr. Duggan, I welcome you to the Connecting Point.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marcy, for having me. It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, and I must tell the Connecting Point, thus the name of this platform. Well, audience, the Connecting Point just happened to be my mother. She
Yes.
met you. I don't even know where she met you. But she said, I met this wonderful doctor and she needs to be on the podcast. I said, well, okay, well, let's see, who is this doctor? And when she told me what your specialty was, I was like, oh my goodness, yes.
It was such a great fit. It was so perfect. It was an Athens, Georgia community event for Howard Stroud. And she was sitting right behind me. And so we started talking, interacting that way. And that's when she told me about you. And I said, I have to connect with her baby so we can talk further.
Okay, so here we are in the Connecting Point.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Duggan, can you tell the audience a little bit about where you're from and where you are now?
Absolutely. So again, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Duggan, primary care physician trained in family and adolescent medicine. So with family medicine, I can take care of everyone. Adolescent medicine, I focus more so on my teenagers. So I'm excited to start that transition into practice to focus on my teens. In terms of where I'm originally from rural central Georgia, Sparta, Georgia, Hancock County. If you know, you know. If not,
And I don't know. I've never heard of
and
it.
I understand because it's super small, about halfway between Atlanta and Augusta, off of 20. So super, super small. Family's still there as well. But from there, kind of moving on through training, and now currently I work in outside of Athens, Georgia. So that's where I am and where practice is located at the moment.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I always like to dig a little deeper into passion and purpose because that's my big thing. Passion and purpose.
Yes.
Now, you are, yes, a medical doctor, but did you know that when you were a child? That's all I want to know. Did you know you were headed in that direction?
You know, to start, no, I didn't. But the passion came after the passing of my grandmother. So she was our neighbor. She helped to take care of us, and she actually passed of a massive heart attack. And so for me, it was learning everything I could about what does the heart does? Well, you know, what is it that it does? What does the body do? How did this even happen? You know, to really prevent it from happening to others and for other families experiencing that. So that's really where it kind of blossomed from in terms of my passion. But the part that I didn't realize that would come later on, now that I'm a few years in the practice now, about 7 years in the practice, would be that my own life experiences would kind of tie into that initial passion for prevention. But now we're taking it to a totally different level and focusing on our teenagers and looking at their whole health. We're looking at their reproductive health. We're looking at their sexual health, as well as their general health also. But we definitely want to make sure that we don't forget those important pieces. And in going through puberty, periods can do all kind of things for all of us because we're all different. But focusing on that and honing in and being able to provide resources in regards to those more sensitive topics that can often be overlooked, even by your healthcare professional or your doctor. And so that's what I want to focus on now, mainly for my teenage women, and to provide and to be that awesome resource for them and their families too.
You know, I remember you're talking about puberty, and this is so funny, and the young adults in my family now will know exactly what I'm talking about. But my mother, who worked in public health all of my childhood and part of my adulthood, she would teach us about puberty, not just at home,
Okay. Okay.
but she would have these workshops
Right.
at the church
Okay.
with teenagers about puberty. She would bring every one of us, all her children and her nieces and nephews. We had this book that we had to carry. She gave us a book about puberty. If you were a boy, you got the one for the boy. If you were a girl, you got the one for the girl. But my mother was big on talking about that, abstinence, sexual transmitted diseases, and we're like, why do we want to hear about this? That's how, as teenagers, like, I don't want to hear that. But
that's right.
But my mother, because she was in public health, she heard about things and saw things, and she was going to make sure that her children and her nieces and nephews did not make any crazy mistakes.
There you go.
And so when I heard about what you're doing, you don't hear that very often, where people specialize in our teenagers.
That's right. That's right. And actually, for me, I did not know that it was an actual specialty for adolescent medicine specifically. So I finished my family medicine training. That was 3 years on its own. But I had the option. I can either start working in, primary care, the kind of day to day, or I had the opportunity to actually train additionally just on teenagers, just on my teenage patients. And I did that for an additional 2 years. And it was such a great experience for me. And to now see that come full circle, where that can be really my primary focus, is really exciting and really a blessing.
Now, let me ask you this. How do you even approach that? Because, I've been to the doctor, with my children when they were younger. And, they'll say, Mom, you can step out of the room, when they get a certain age.
Right.
That teenage stage.
That's right.
Mama, you can step out of the room. And then I come back in and everything's quiet. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So how do you even approach that, even with parents and adolescent health? Because there's sometimes teens don't want to tell you what's going on in front of their parents.
You're absolutely right. And one of the things that I try to build with all my patients, including my teenagers, is that strong patient-physician relationship. So just like I would with you, as their parent, if I was seeing you individually, I want to get to know you as a person, what's special to you, what is it that's important to you, because in that way, if we have a good relationship, then I have buy-in, right? We have that trust that's built there. And it does take time, but asking deeper questions. What are your hobbies? What are things you like to do? What are you planning to do? And in the same way, when we're talking through, say, vaccinations, to try to say, okay, why is this important, for your child today? Also focus on, okay, at some point during our, time today, I'll have you to step out so I can talk one-on-one, with your teen as well, which I do with all of my teens. So it's not that I'm singling out or I'm choosing certain teens that I may focus on, but really it's all of them. And I feel that they deserve that really as well, so that they can have those more sensitive conversations. They can actually maybe be more willing to open up and discuss things that may be important to them, that maybe even parents or their guardian didn't even realize was something that they were thinking about or that was on their mind. The other thing that I also like to point out to them is let them know what's confidential and what's not. Because if there's something that requires further intervention above my level, what I can give them, say if there are thoughts of them hurting themselves, thoughts of hurting anyone else, if they're unsafe or any abuse, then those things have to be discussed outside of the room, outside of our conversation. But I let them know that up front, because if we break that, then kind of that trust is lost.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if I let them know, hey, we're going to talk about some things. It's confidential. I'm not just going to go run tell mama, run tell daddy, everything you just told me. But here are the things that aren't. It kind of lays that groundwork for them so they know, okay, she may, be looking out for me and maybe can answer some sensitive questions on topics that I may have. So that's what I try to build into that visit when I'm seeing them as well.
And I see that you also specialize in whole health. And so does that include the social and emotional part of, your practice and working with the teens?
Right. So part of that stepping out of the room part is like a whole acronym that I kind of go through to include not just home, not just education, if you're old enough to work, not just where you're working, but also how's your self-esteem?
Uh,
Okay, yeah. How are you dealing with any bullying, or are you the bully?
mm,
Right? It can be the other way too.
Yeah.
Yes, and for like home life, are you, how's everyone get along? Who lives at home with you? Do you feel that you have what you need? Anyone around you use any, I won't say drugs, but I try to be specific if it's marijuana or vaping, something like that, that they maybe can relate to and understand. But that's the time where I try to go into more of those social factors when we're talking one-on-one and individually. And really, even before the guardian or parents leave, I want to know, do you have questions? Do you have concerns? Is it something that you've noticed in your teen or young adult that you want us to address as well? So I can try to hear both sides of the story, and then we can kind of come together in the middle with a plan without breaking that confidentiality when it's within reason.
Okay, well, can you tell parents, when is it a good time to shift to a doctor as yourself that is specializing just in teen medicine? So when should a parent realize it's time to leave the pediatric doctor and come to you? Because, some pediatricians go up to 18, 17, 18.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
when and why is it important for them to seek a doctor such as yourself?
Right, that's an excellent question. A lot of pediatricians, they may focus on, say, the primary care part for our younger patients. Like you said, they may go up to 18, but they may have a preference just for the smaller kiddos. Like we're talking about maybe preschool or kindergarten, those much smaller, the babies, they may enjoy that more. So that can be a time where, okay, do we need to make that shift? The other could be from the actual teen or young adult's perspective themselves, right? They have their pediatrician that's seen them from the time they were in diapers.
Yes.
So, they
Yes.
may no longer be as comfortable sharing all the things that maybe need to be discussed, or that's more sensitive topics. So it could be something that comes from your teen or young adult themselves that, hey, I want to talk to someone else, or I feel like I've outgrown my pediatrician. Another reason could be if there are specific ailments or concerns that may be there, for instance, let's say with their periods. So they're having heavy periods, they're having low blood counts because of it. What else can we do to help them? Okay, that may be something that someone such as myself in adolescent medicine kind of specializes in. Or if the periods are irregular, I'm missing some months, not all the time, but I don't quite know if this is okay or not. And your pediatrician may not be comfortable with that. For instance, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which deals with irregular periods, and other metabolic syndrome issues such as cholesterol, insulin resistance. Those may be more in my wheelhouse versus the pediatrician as well. So those are just some kind of quick examples of why, based on maybe the medical conditions that are going on, or possibly, let's say, the teen's preference, or maybe even the pediatrician's preference. They may go to 18, but they're like, hey, once we start talking about sex and all these things and
they're not
birth
good.
control, you're out of my wheelhouse. So that's why I'm like, come on, we're ready for you to have those conversations here with adolescent medicine.
And then when should they shift from you to maybe another doctor? Because that's another thing, when they start going off to college, you don't do pap smears, do you? You
I
don't?
do.
You do?
I do. Women's health gynecology. We're starting from 11 to 26. That's going to be my age range. And
I love
with family medicine, I'm trained in all of it. So I can do the packs. 21 and up, I'm ready for you. College, I got you.
y'all listen here. Y'all hear that?
Yes,
That is excellent. I love it. Because I was thinking now, is she gonna go up far enough to handle that group of people who are now transitioning into womanhood?
Yes, we're trying to get you there and beyond to really get you ready for what it is to be an adult, really to live the life that you choose at that point. Because whether it's school, whether it's military, whether you're going to take a year off or work, you got to make money to survive. We want our ladies to be able to do that, our teens to be able to do that, and to do it successfully in the way that they choose, while still making sure to take care of their health.
Okay. Now you don't only see women, do you? Or do you see boys and young men as well?
Great question. So right now I see everyone.
Okay.
But coming soon, I'm going to start the niche down to my 11 to 26-year-old women. So I'm catching them right at puberty, and then I'm catching them kind of young adult age up to 26, while they're still kind of under their parents' insurance.
Yes, because it doesn't last always.
But then hopefully we can help to transition them much smoother to their, maybe potential adult, physician or health professional at that time. But definitely in that critical time, 11 to 26, while we're going through so many changes between puberty and just learning how to live life during that time. That's the age range that I'm ready to focus on for young ladies.
Okay, and there's another question I wanted to ask you, and this is specifically regarding African American teens.
Okay.
What are you seeing in the community as a major concern, medical concern, for our African American females? The top major, the top concern.
Top concern. That would say for females. One, and I say two because they not quite overlap, but I still think that they're both important. First would be obesity. It's really becoming, it's studied better, I would say, but we're seeing it younger and younger in our pediatric patients as well.
So why do you think that is so?
So it's tough to say, but I know we're not out and about as much as we used to. Let's say for us just getting out at school. I remember being outside almost as much as I was in the classroom. Right? And we're at school the majority of the time. So is that part of it? Also, nutrition-wise, there's been a lot of changes in terms of soda that we're taking in, a whole lot of sugar that's there, a lot of the easier fast food restaurants that aren't regular size, now we're super size, on the things that we're getting that are more convenient. And of course, our social determinants of health, we're looking at different food deserts in certain locations and areas where our people reside. So all those things are kind of coming into a nice cluster all kind of at the same time. And we're seeing the implications of that, whether it's periods are starting earlier, whether it's teens that are starting to deal with blood pressure issues, we're having to watch their cholesterol and their sugars when that really wasn't the same issue maybe like a decade or so back.
Right.
So that's definitely one of the things that I've noticed. The other would be in terms of sexually transmitted infections.
Mm-hmm.
With our teenagers, we're talking from 15, even some are younger, to 24 years old. We're looking at 51% of new cases. We're talking chlamydia, gonorrhea,
Wow.
syphilis. It's among that age group.
Mm.
So bringing that awareness, bringing that education, bringing the fact that there are convenient ways we can get you tested and treated and get it done efficiently so that we can make sure you're good, but your partner can also be good as well. Can they get the treatment that they need so we're not passing it back and forth, we're not continue to spread it within our community.
Mm-hmm.
So really bringing awareness to those two aspects, I think is really important. Some big things that I've seen since I've been in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping to affect those outcomes in positive ways. So I won't have to worry about my 40, 50 year
Yeah.
old having to deal with some of these same issues down the line. And we can start to affect that change now.
And I also, I haven't heard the figures, but I'm sure you have. What is the rate of teen pregnancy? Is that going down or up?
Mhm. So it's actually going down. We're
I
at some of
thought,
the
yeah.
lowest levels that we've been really in decades. The last stat that I did see was back for 2022 in the US. We're down to maybe 13 or so per thousand
Mhm.
from 15 to 19-year-olds. Georgia is still a little bit above that though, and we rank number 16 in teen pregnancies overall. So there's still work to do, although the numbers are coming down with better methods, better education, and trying to make these more effective options more accessible to the entire community, regardless of where you are, and removing any stigma potentially that may be around different methods as well.
So let me ask you, do you, when you're talking to the teens,
Mhm.
do you lead them in the direction of abstinence or protecting yourself when it comes to sexual health?
Mhm. So I let my team guide me, if that
Uh-huh.
makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
where are they currently? Are you currently in a relationship? Are you with uh what is it, cis relationship where it's a male female, or are you male male female female, so kind of getting down into the
Find out what's
granular
going on.
part of that,
Mhm.
and to see, okay, have we ever been, or have we never been, and really to approach it where coming from a non-judgmental
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
So, regardless of where you are, I let them know that they are my priority,
Mhm.
meaning I can only see you and you can only see you. You only know what you do.
Mhm.
So, regardless of who you may be with or not, make sure that you protect yourself first. If you're abstinent, great. If you're not, it's okay. You can still make sure to protect yourself in
Mhm.
the process when that time comes, and only when you're ready, make sure that you're not forced into anything and that is consensual as
Mhm.
well.
And I do know there are a lot of types of vaccinations out there. Like they have HPV. What's that one called?
Yes,
That they
Gardasil,
asked the
Gardasil
parent. I
9.
remember them asking the
That's
parent, "Do
right.
you want your child to have this vaccination?" Can you explain that one? What is it called? HP what?
Yep, it's HPV, human papilloma
Okay.
virus,
Do you
and the
want your
name of the
child to have
vaccine is
that? Yeah.
Gardasil. Yep, Gardasil 9 is the latest one that's been out. And what it does, it helps to protect. I let patients know it's going to help protect from potential cancers in the future.
Mm.
And we used to think of more like, okay, lady cancers, cervical cancer, but also it can be helpful in protecting our males as well from, say, any anal, oral, we're really both sexes, anal cancers, oral cancers as well, and also protecting from like genital warts. So it's like people can get warts on their fingers, they can get warts down there too. Nobody wants them down there. So it can help to protect from those strands of the human papilloma virus that can cause those issues.
So see, that's I know that's why education in health sometimes, and I'm saying this particularly in the African American community, they don't talk about it as much.
Right.
And so I just feel like if our children had a safe space to discuss it, even at school or whatever, at the church, whatever. Like I said, my mama did in the basement of the church. She
Right,
sure
right.
did.
You gotta meet them where everybody is. Meet
She
everybody where
sure.
they are.
My mama showed the videos and all. Listen, y'all don't want this now. So, but I'm telling you, I remember it growing up, and I'm like, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. But I'm glad that she did,
Exactly.
because it makes you cognitive of, okay, one or two things gonna happen. If I lay down, I can get a venereal disease or pregnant, or worse, both. And so,
Right.
oh,
Right.
but we got it. I got it when I was young, and and I'm hoping and praying that your presence will encourage parents to take their kids there. And then some of these young adults, y'all got cars,
That's right.
to just show up and get the help that you need and ask the questions that you need to ask. Now, let me ask you this. As far as our young boys, because I know you're female, so how comfortable have the boys been with you, because they don't want to come in and feel like they with their mama.
Right. Oh, no. The guys are just as comfortable, as the girls as well. And sometimes they'll open up just as much, also in being interested in learning about different methods that maybe they can tell their girlfriends, or they can tell, others about their friends that they care about, that they had no idea existed. So I've had sometimes couples come in, the teen couples together. So during the procedure that we're doing for certain birth control methods that require a procedure, they're there together and they're asking questions and they're wanting to know, how effective, how long does it take for it to become effective? How long does it stay in place? I'm like, okay, great. Team effort, team sport. Let's
Yeah,
do
it. Well, I just, like I said, I am praying that people will know that you're available in the community to help in these situations where teens can have their own specialized doctor. And with that being said, Dr. Duggan, can you tell the audience how they can connect with you? Where are you located? Well, I know you're getting ready to be in another location. I know that.
That's right. And I want everyone to stay tuned. Definitely
Yeah.
check out my socials, Loretta Duggan, MD. So LORETTA So whether it's IG, whether it's TikTok, whether it's YouTube, I'm there. And Dr. Loretta Duggan on Facebook. So find me so you can stay tuned
Stay
and know exactly where I
tuned.
will be in
Yeah.
the coming months. That's right.
Now, Dr. Duggan, since you're on the connecting point, you have to give a point to ponder. What
Yeah.
point would you like to leave the audience pondering with?
Yes. So I think, and it's something that I've heard fairly recently, but I would say time versus distance.
Mm.
Time versus distance. And what I mean by that is a lot of time it's easy to see, how far A and B, can be from each other. And it seems like it's such a long way to get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of focusing on that distance, let's look at the time. So in terms of the times you're being consistent,
Mm-hmm.
the time that you're showing up, the time that you're dedicating to your craft, the time that you're putting in with your studies, focusing on that and moving one step ahead at a time, one step ahead at a time. And next thing you know, that distance is not so large anymore.
Right.
So I would leave that as motivation to stay focused,
Time
to stay
and
resilient,
consistent.
and consistent. That's
Yes,
right.
time and consistent. Listen, Dr. I'm about to say Duggan. I don't know why I want to say Duggan. Duggan.
That's
I don't know if you've been
different.
in Atlanta where you go to Duggan's restaurant. Have you heard of Duggan's restaurant?
I have. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what's popping up in my head, Duggan.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Dr. Duggan, thank you so much for enlightening us. And also, you are near the Athens area. That's my hometown, y'all.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Serving here in the local surrounding Athens area. And like I said,
Right.
stay tuned. Stay tuned to
Stay
see.
tuned. And if you
That's
need to
right.
find out, I'm
Where this
sure,
will
I'm
be.
sure you will let me know so that I can,
Absolutely.
uh-huh.
Yes, you and Mama. I will let both of you all know.
So Athens, listen here. Get these teams in there when she
Yes.
when she puts it out there.
Yes,
She lets you know where to show up.
that's right.
Get them there so they can get the specialized care they
Mhm.
need. And now I did mean to ask you this.
Of
They
course.
can, it will be health insurance. What about Medicaid and all that?
Yes,
It'll
ma'am.
accept
That
all
is
of
the
that.
plan. Taking insurance, including Medicare, Medicaid, as well from
And what
patients.
about patients who do not have insurance? Is there an option for them?
I am planning to have a sliding scale
Mhm.
for our patients that may be uninsured or either underinsured as well.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much
Oh, you're
for
so
joining
welcome. Thank
me.
you.
And audience, like I say every week, if you would like to be a part of a discussion here on the Connecting Point, reach out to me at drmarcyts@gmail.com or go to the website at Dr. Marcy's Connections, fill out a form, or join the Connecting Point for Creators group on Facebook. It's just a point of contact, a point of networking and promoting and receiving daily inspiration throughout the week. If that sounds like something you'd like to do, reach out, send a request to join. We would love to have you. This show airs on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. on YouTube, Instagram TV, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also get it on Wednesday nights at KBCN TV, Spotify, and Anchor. All that I ask is that you like and share, mainly that you share it so that others can be inspired and have the information and resources they need to be impactful in our world. All right, audience, until we get this moment again, peace and blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
I am here to invite each of you to share your amazing stories with me and the global audience. What does that mean? Well, that means I'm looking for testimonies of the goodness of God and what He's done for you that you know will inspire and uplift others and transform lives. If that sounds like you, please reach out to me at drmarcyts@gmail.com, or you may go to the website, Dr. Marcy's Connections, and fill out a form. Simple as that. Let's go ahead and share our testimonies with the world because this is the year of the testimony. I'm looking for you. Go ahead now. Let's connect.